So, welcome and good morning. I hope folks got through their 4th of July with relative peace for those that are US based. And I should probably put my phone on Do Not Disturb right now. So, I kind of got through, I am a little bit raw from events of this weekend, but most of that was we have some neighbors that think that fireworks ordinances are open to interpretation. And in my neighborhood, we try not to call the police, but I think we finally had to this time. And it was just last year they did almost burn down 3 houses, including mine. So this year, I think people are more of we're going to watch them as long as they're staying within the ordinance rules and moving away from houses. Great. And this year they mostly did. So I think we let it go until the last minute. So it does not help that apparently fireworks used to be illegal in Michigan and now they are legal. And it is odd because these are the only immigrants on the block, and everyone has been trying to get to know them, but they're not so receptive to it for whatever reason. So that does not help. So we can't really bring up hey, could you please not blow up your house and ours? I mean, last year they actually managed to melt not one but 2 garbage Kirby's and a recycling one. I was a little bit impressed. So, hi, welcome. Happy to see y'all here. So, for those that might be unfamiliar or join that watch this in the replay, I do a weekly tarot reading that is for the entire community. The community being defined as whoever joins us here. So, whatever the reading is, I'm assuming there is something in their information that you can do that you can use in some way or apply to your life or to your own community work in some way. A lot of the times it is somewhat predictive, despite my question not being predictive. My question is usually, what do we need to know to move forward, to build a community? I should probably start developing some new questions because what I keep getting back is this is going to happen. Good luck dealing with that. And my decks have sort of developed their own personality. So I literally have an upstairs and a downstairs deck of Tarot of the Spirit. And my upstairs one has decided that it is extreme radical feminist. I want to not just smash the patriarchy, but do like snuff film level vibes to it. And my downstairs deck, when I'm using the downstairs deck, is kind of like Raymond Reddington, where you're never quite sure whose side it's on. So, and so we are getting the advice from the Raymond Reddington card. And yes, I did pregame, and yes, I have my coffee, so I am good. I am hoping it is a small group today for happy reasons, like people are on vacation and are just sleeping in. So that is my hope. Fingers crossed that it is a happy thing and a good thing. So the card I pulled, because I did yesterday just to save time in this, also because I have a hankering to go make Irish scones today. So I wanted to have a little extra time for you to go be creative. Pulled the moon inverted. Now, the moon inverted, I think that this may be my possibly number one least favorite card in the tarot. It is a toss-up since I also do not love it when the Emperor shows up, because when the Emperor shows up for me, it always means somebody's pulling something somewhere. And it doesn't even matter which way it falls. It means somebody's pulling something somewhere. The moon is kind of similar, and I have to remind myself sometimes, especially since I started studying tarot, because I had converted to Wicca. I have moved to Slavic animism since then. Just this was part of my natural process of experiencing things spiritually. But I have to remind myself that the tarot was created by people that were primarily esoteric Christians, which meant that a lot of tarot, at least when you're learning the basics until you move out to other decks where there are broader interpretations, are rooted in Western Christian theological thought, not Catholic thought per se. I mean, just using these is probably heretical in most denominations. But in that perspective, sun, yay! Happy baby, solar, fertility, moon, feminine, boo, bad habits from women that we project onto women. And there is some of that in there, just like the high priestess in tarot is representative of an extreme celibacy, an extreme purity, an almost healthy, unhealthy purity if you take it at its base original value. So, and granted, again, nearly all of the meanings on tarot were projected onto them. They were a product of the time that people started using them as a predictive tool. And since tarot was originally a game and not a predictive tool, you do have to take into account that people had their beliefs and their variations and their hypocrisies back then, and they do show up in tarot interpretations too. Since I have no idea what it's like to think like a 16th century member of an Italian court, I have to go with my very US American view on things. Well, looking at it going, okay, the lens of the person that created this is not the lens that I use typically. So at the same time with tarot, there are some things that are open to interpretation, but there are limits. That's why we have the cards. The cards are supposed to be the framework for the interpretation. And while it is not absolute, and there can be layers and layers and layers of meaning, and just like words can mean more than one thing, the tarot cards are meant to mean many more than one thing. The moon is especially complicated, um, especially when it's like this, the moon inverted, because it's usually like the moon is usually about things being illuminated or things being distorted in moonlight, especially with the inversion. And the feeling I get this morning, it was a little bit different when I did the write-up yesterday already, was my job is so secret, even I don't know what I'm doing. This is a card about deception, except I don't feel like it's competent deception. It feels like bad communication along with being opaque and hush-hush, leading to a big mess. So looking at this, because I can only really look at the messy thread. I mean, every week I have seen something with my readings in retrospect. The cards are right, but sometimes I interpret wrong. That happens. And this looks like there's going to be some really confusing stuff. So this is a check your reading comprehension week. Like maybe go play some word games to improve your reading comprehension or read offline, which I've had to retrain myself to do since the advent of the internet, because there are going to be things that, one, there is intentional deceit, but it is not competent deceit. So learning to recognize tells, learning to just keep asking questions. So something that I've noticed that really crappy people will do, really abusive people will do when they know they are doing something just shitty, is they will basically go at you like you don't understand them. And they will try to make you feel dumb, like, oh, I'm just missing something. Oh, it's just your point of view. When sometimes you know the facts, they're trying to get you to question the very clear cut facts. The yes, you actually did say that. Yes, you actually did have that tone. Yes, you used that body posture and harrowed over me. That does not undo this. So while you're using words after words and trying to get someone to engage with basically a self-gaslight, the facts are still true. And trying to change how they're seen does not change what was actually done. I used to work for a corporation that would, in fact, tell people perception is reality. It is not. That was actually a very fucked up abuse tactic from HR. And this was basically an HR company. It was the company that owned the trademark on Myers-Briggs. They are unsurprisingly out of business and have been for some time. They got consumed by someplace in Colorado, and I have no idea what's going on with them now. And since the Colorado place took them over, they've become almost like an internet dating meme with the Myers-Briggs. And eh, the way it is applied is not how it was meant to be used, and it wasn't that good in the first place. So this kind of feels like that, where something that is clearly absolute crap is being held up to be accepted. And the way to deal with it is to chip away, is to ask one tiny question, then another tiny question. And when someone comes back with the, oh, well, blah, 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 this thing that's not true, another tiny question. But you said here, how does this reconcile? Remember, the burden of reconciliation is on the person who's trying to commit the deceit, not you. It is not your job to try to reconcile it if it sounds like bullshit. You either tear it apart, depending on what your community needs, or you walk away. Like, one of the best ways to ruin people's clout on the internet is to block them. And one of the best ways to stop somebody from having access and attempting control over you is to walk away. Granted, there are domestic violence situations where it is not that easy, but in social situations where there is more distance, this is the preferred thing to keep things from becoming violent later. So the moon is a tricky card. And for me, the moon is also connected to the ocean and the tides. So when I read the moon, I'm also reading it as the ocean card. And I am seeing this as there will be stormy waters. And here's a way to figure out how to navigate the stormy waters because you're going to be tipped all about and wondering which way you're going. If you've ever been on a boat when there has been a lot of turbulent water, you really know how this feels. So perhaps not. We've been having some optimistic cards in recent weeks, so I can't say I welcome the return to the norm, but I am unsurprised, especially since in Mercury retrograde for the next couple days. The moon is going to be in Pisces, and Pisces is a particularly curious water sign in that it is very reflective. It's like the water version of the Aquarius sign, in that people tend to be curious, they tend to go on deep dives, and sometimes it's really hard to know what the hell they're talking about. My first love was a Pisces. That one still kind of sticks with me. So that's what I have for y'all today. I'm going to be hopping over to the Patreon. The Patreon post, this will be the first one of the month, so that one will be free and open to the public after I post it. If you would like to join the Patreon, it is free to join. Support is always appreciated. And usually I do a slightly deeper dive, and there are 3 more cards to give us a little bit more room. Okay. And Sharon is saying, thank you. This makes a good deal of sense. Thank you so much. Also, again, when people have insights, they are welcome to give them. So thank you so much for spending the time with me. All right. Especially with Mercury retrograde and all the goings on this week. Yes. I know I had my housemate mentioned that he always does a reading before he goes on a trip. And he actually got you're going to be in a car accident. You're just going to be. So I think that just those levels of precautions are good. I mean, last week was extra crazy, even for me. Yeah. A fucked up reflecting pool, huh? Oh, absolutely. Yes. And we are dealing with the funhouse mirror, the funhouse mirror of everything, but yes. All right. Good morning, and thank you so much. I will talk to you all later on. The notes will be up in a little bit. Stay magical, everyone.